Hey guys, you're listening to episode 28 of the True Voice Soundcast, and I'm Natasha Che. About a month ago, I got this download from the source that was super interesting. I think I shared it as a message to the subscribers of True Voice. You would have thought you would have seen it if you had subscribed and you're listening to this soundcast on the Soundwise app. But anyway, so I was out walking one day in quietness, as I oftentimes do because it's just the best time for me to clear my thoughts and get into a meditative state and connect with my higher self. And that particular day, I was, I had a lot on my mind, but it was nothing particularly important. But I just remember I was worried about something. Now I just don't remember what it was. But so I was walking and walking, and I was kind of immersed in my inner world. And then I clearly got this very distinctive feeling that just hit me like a brick. Okay, it wasn't heavy or anything, but the message was just so clear. And it says, don't worry about anything because the future has already happened. The future is already done. Your destiny is already achieved. So what are you making a fuss about? So, when you get these kind of messages, it's not just words, it's not just concept. When it's really a message from the divine, from a deeper source inside of you, it comes as some kind of a visceral transmission that you not only get the words, but also at the moment you realize, oh, I totally get it. I see how it is now. You may have read about the same thing in the books for 1,000 times, but it remained just words. But when you get this kind of direct downloads from the source, it changes everything. It just makes you look at things differently and make you read the words that you have read before from a totally different perspective. Because these messages, they just change you. They rewire you at a much deeper level than concept and mind. So I got this message, and also I downloaded a specific type of practice that can help that has helped me actually in the past month, and I also think that will help you tremendously in terms of helping you overcome whatever conundrum and challenges that you are having at this point in time in your life by borrowing the strength from your future self so that you can, converge with your highest destiny faster and smoother. So I'm going to tell you about this practice in a moment, but first of all, I want to warn you that, later part of this episode, there will be a period of meditative practice. It's not strictly meditation as you close your eyes and with your fingers crossed, not that kind of thing. But I would advise you not to listen to it when you're driving for the later part. I would ask you to do the exercise with me. So just a heads up. Now, let's talk about time. Have you had a kind of experience when in the past when you felt like so stuck with a problem in your life and you thought, oh my God, the world was going to end, I would never get out of this trouble. But then a few years later, even now, when you look back at the time, now you think, why was it such a big deal? It was like when you look back from the vantage point of the present, you thought you start thinking, okay, that was like what I was suffering about at that time was completely unnecessary. And you are having that vantage point because, of course, you have gained experience and you have gained strength through these years, and because you have experienced a lot more things, that gives you perspective, that gives you wisdom, that gives you, inner resilience. And now you're looking at things much differently than before, right? So I'm sure, every one of you have had experience like that. I remember when I was in 7th grade, I had this huge crush on a boy in my class. And I was a really shy girl at the time, and I, never felt comfortable reaching out to anybody. But I had a huge crush on this boy, and I thought he was super cute and super smart, and he was, of course, very popular and very good in sports and so on. So, and then I realized that he was dating someone else, dating some other girl in my class. And at the time, I just felt so completely crushed. And I thought, oh my God, I don't want to live anymore. And this thing called life is so overrated. And I'm never going to love anybody else in my life anymore. My life is totally ruined, right? So so I know some of you probably you've had a similar experience. Now, but right now, when I look at that period, right, it's like almost 30 years ago. When I look at that incident, and when I look back and think of the me at the time, and I thought, oh, she was so adorable. I was so adorable at the time. I would get so worked up about these things, and now I couldn't even think of okay, thank God I didn't end up with that person, right? So that's what I mean. Over time, you gain knowledge, you gain experience, and you yourself totally changed. You're no longer the same you today versus 5 years ago, right? Not a living cell in your body today even existed 5 years ago. And all of us, we go through these tremendous growth in both physically and emotionally and spiritually over this lifetime, just because we're experiencing so much more, right? So I'm sure, and also, most time, you as an adult, you look at what children get upset about. You take the kid's favorite toy away, and she can be upset for half a day. She accidentally bumped her head against the table corner, and she got hurt, and then she can cry for half a day, and that type of thing. And the hamster. If the hamster died, that would be the end of the world, right? So you look at kids and you think, these kids are ridiculous. Why would they get so upset, about these things? If only they had the adult perspective, they would just know that these are really, no big deal, right? But the thing is, as a kid, you didn't have that perspective. You were not the you that you are today. Now the same deal, what if I tell you, let me put it another way. Don't you wish that, at the time when you had this difficulty in your life, or whatever you had to go through at that point of your time, don't you wish that you had had that wisdom and strength and knowledge that you're having today? Wouldn't it have made things so much easier? I bet it would, right? But what if I tell you that you can, because at this moment, everything is happening, your past, your present, and your future, and your future's future. So you can actually access yourself at any point in time. So you can actually access the self of you that is 10 years, 20 years, 30 years down the road, when you're so much stronger and so much wiser and so much more open-hearted. You can actually access that self to help you get through whatever you're experiencing right now? What if I tell you that is possible? And also, what if it's not even limited to this lifetime? You can even access the self, your higher self that goes beyond this lifetime. Wouldn't that be great? Right? And what I want to tell you is that is entirely doable, and it's very simple. It's not hard to get started because I'm sure you've heard of this. Time is a illusion. Time is a illusion, my child. You should learn what you have learned. I don't think I made a very good Yoda impression there. But anyway, so you've all heard this notion that time is an illusion. Time doesn't exist, right? Because we are so used to it. We live in a time-space continuum since day one, since we remember that since the day we got born into this earth. So we're so used to it, and we thought we think that's the way it is. So it's super hard for the mind to even grasp to the tiniest degree that time is actually fungible and it's actually not set in stone, and it's something that you can access in a different way than how you're experiencing it on a daily basis. So it's very hard for us to grasp that thing in its essence. But still, that doesn't mean it's not true, right? So what if you can access the future like you're walking into another space? What if I tell you, okay, so I'm sitting in my living room right now. What if I tell you, you can actually access your future just like you walk from your living room to your kitchen, and you get hungry and you look into the refrigerator and grab something to eat. What if it's that simple? Huh? What if you can also access your past the same way? You walk from the living room to your bedroom, just like that. And think about how that would change things, right? You will be able to access the knowledge, the wisdom, the strength that you may not think you possess at this moment. And that would be superbly helpful, For example, if you're going on stage to talk to 10,000 people tomorrow, and you're so freaked out, you thought, oh my God, how am I ever going to go through this? I will be such a shame on stage. Or you're in a relationship, you don't feel like you're in a bad relationship, but you don't feel like you have the strength to get out. Wouldn't it be great if you can go into your future just like you walk from your living room to your kitchen, and you tap on the shoulder of your future self, and you say to your future self, hey buddy, I have a slight problem here that I will need your help with. Can you come with me? And your future self will say, oh yeah, sure, anything for you. And you can bring your future self into that situation, and with the resourcefulness and the perspective that you may not consciously possess at this moment, the problem you are experiencing now will no longer feel like such a problem from the vantage point of your future self. Just like any little kid's problem is no longer a problem for you right now from the vantage point of your adult self. Wouldn't that be cool? I think it would. So I'm going to walk you through this practice that will help you to access your future self and the self that you have in the past, so that you can get help from the future and also heal your past. And it's a very simple exercise. And I actually started doing this exercise every day ever since I got this download. I started doing this exercise every morning when I open my eyes, the first thing I do is to access the future. And that has had a great impact, a very positive impact on my days, just in terms of how my energy and my perspective as I go through any normal day. So you can do this really every day or whenever you are in a situation that you can use some extra help with. All right, so here is the practice. It's very simple. Now, I hope you are not driving right now. If you are driving, maybe you should stop this recording and play it at some other time. So just, do this. Let's do this together. Now, sit down and sit in a quiet space when you can be, relatively uninterrupted by yourself. You don't have to close your eyes or anything, but if that helps you, if that usually helps you to close your eyes, you can do that too. But really what I want you to do is, extend your energy into the space around you. And then find a spot in the space around you. Doesn't have to be in your room, right? So I assume your room is not a giant dancing hall. So it can be beyond the room, but any space around you. Feel into the space around you and locate a spot that is your future. That is the future where your future self lives, a version of your future self lives, and this version has 100 more times more strength and wisdom than where you are currently, and that future self will be able to handle whatever problems that you're having, whatever anxiety you are having at this moment, very, very easily with the snap of the finger. So locate that particular point in your future. I don't know, it can be 30 years, 50 years down the road, but just locate that point in space. Now, I know this sounds a little bit strange because, wherever in space, that's not literally where your future is, right? Because we're talking about space, physical space here. But the point of this exercise is, I know your future doesn't live like 500 feet away. But the thing is, because our mind is so used to this time-space continuum, we orient ourselves in relation to space. So when you can actually pick a point in space, it helps you, it gives you the easier time for your subconscious to actually access it. So again, this is not literal. Your future does not live like 500 feet away in your neighbor's yard, but it's a exercise that helps you to access that dimension out of time more easily by drawing on this metaphor of space. So just do this, okay? There's no wrong way to do it. Any point that you locate, you just use your intuition, just pick a point. For example, now I'm locating this, some point like right in front of me. Go straight in front of me, but it's like extending out for about 100, maybe 200 feet. I don't know where that is. It could be in some construction site. So so locate that, and that is the point of the future that you want to access. And now I want you to extend your energy into that point in the future where your magnificent future self lives. So extend your energy into this spot in the future and find your future self. And look at your future self. Look at your future self in the eyes and really see what your future self looks like. Now, this may not apply if the future point that you pinpoint lies beyond this lifetime. And sometimes I do this exercise and I will go beyond this life, right? I'll go beyond, and what I will see is not a physical form anymore. And it'll be, a bunch of, pleasant, glittering light or, whatever. But you can still feel the energy. And that's the important thing, is feel into that energy of that future you. So when you get that, I want you to pull back, retrace your steps, and carry the energy with you, carry the energy of your future self with you, and come back, retrace your steps and back to this present moment, and to this self, back to yourself where you're sitting now in a room, and then integrate that energy that you bring back into your body. Now, did you do it? I hope so. If you didn't do it, rewind 5 minutes and play it again. This time do it, okay? So bring that energy back into your body and feel like how you're feeling right now. Do you feel any different? For me, every time I bring that energy back of the future, it can be at different points of the future. Sometimes it's like a tingling sensation. Sometimes it's just like an energy surge, like the Kundalini. It's always is very expanded, very expansive feeling. And sometimes I feel different than other times, depending on which point of the future that I access. So that is the simple steps, a simple exercise that you can do to bring that energy from the future into your present moment, to access the wisdom, the resources, the creativity that you may not consciously think that you have right now. Well, obviously you have it, because you are still you're this continuous spectrum of existence. So whatever you have in the future, you already have it now. But most of the time we are not, because it's so buried deep within us that we cannot really access it. But this exercise really makes it more conscious for you in terms of really accessing your future destiny, so that it will move you faster towards it and make the convergence happen faster. And that is for the future, right? The thing is, you can also do it with your past. Now, for many of us, we've had some pretty bad experience, traumatic experiences when we were little, right? When we were a teenager. And whether it's, trauma or abuse or, whatever experiences that leave a mark on you, right? It kind of form the person that you are now. And any kind of experience, good or bad, it has its gifts, right? Without those bad experiences, you wouldn't have become this strong, resilient, heart-centered light being that you are right now at this moment. But you cannot deny that those experiences, they also, formed some of your limitations, right? So I know you know what I'm talking about. The thing is, since you can access the future, you can also access the past. Now you are so much more together, you're so much stronger, You're so much wiser than when you were 5 years old. So you can actually access the past to help yourself out. I'm sure you are willing to help yourself out, right? Even if it's the self in the past. Nobody is saying, me at 5-year-old, I don't care. So I assume you will happily help yourself out, even if it's in the past, because it's the same deal. Your past can access who you are right now. So if you actively reach out to your past self, it's going to help the you that you think that happened in the past. It's going to help the past you, the you that lived in the past, to move through whatever experiences or obstacle that they had to move through at that point in your life. So all my past future tenses are maxed up, so bear with me, all right? So, so you can do this in the same way, very similarly, locate a point in your space. Let's do this again right now together. Locate a point in your space where a past event happened that had some kind of traumatic impact on your life at the time. It can be when you're 3 years old, or when you are 19, whatever you can remember, So for me right now, I remember the first day of kindergarten. I don't know if it's the first day or maybe it's every day in kindergarten. Every morning my mom dropped me off at kindergarten, and I felt like so lost in the jungle. And because I hated the kindergarten so much, I just couldn't get along with other kids, and it was a frightening world out there for me. And every time I got dropped at the kindergarten gate, I went on to cry for half an hour. So now I'm locating this point in my physical space of that time, of that spot in the timeline of my life. And now I've located that little Natasha, okay, that was feeling so frightened and overwhelmed and had no idea how to manage her sensitivity, right? And I extend my energy back towards that spot in time, and I find my little self, and I wrap my arms around her. Now I'm telling her, it will be okay. You will be okay, my child. You will grow up to be a brilliant, beautiful, shiny, light being, 100, 1,000 times more than who you think you can be right now. I know you're, sitting here crying your pants off, but really this is only temporary, and you will get through this, and I am here to help you get through this. Now, I want you to do the same thing. Pick a time spot in your past where you have a traumatic experience, and extend yourself back to that time spot. Meet your past self and extend your energy as support, and extend your love as support to this self in the past. Whatever situation that you thought you couldn't possibly get through and still be alive out of it, you can help out as the future self of your past self. All right, that's a mouthful. So, but I hope you get this idea, right? And what it would do is it would literally help your past self in that past. And that is one of the reasons why you were able to get through that situation that you thought you couldn't possibly get through and still survive. It's because you got help. All right? You got a lot of help. And one help is from your future self. So that did you get it? All right, this is all a convergence. This is all a equilibrium, right? So do this as often as you can. Help out your past self. Help yourself heal. And it will boost your past self, which will in turn boost your present self. And also source wisdom, source strength, source resourcefulness from your future self so that you can converge with your highest destiny in a smoother way. Because your highest destiny already happened. That is a given. It's the journey towards it's a journey to converge to that destiny. It can be a pleasant one or a less pleasant one. Now what we are doing is make it more pleasant for you. All right, so that destiny is a certainty. That's why you can access it. Okay, so we are running a little long here. Usually, I'm already like 1/3 longer than my usual episodes, but I hope you will start doing this, at least to try it. And I want to know what your experience is like after you try this exercise. So after you try this, leave a comment. Now, first of all, go subscribe. If you haven't, go subscribe to the True Voyage Soundcast on Soundwise, and then you can download the Soundwise app and leave a comment on this episode and tell me what your experience is like. And I will talk to you again soon.